What's crafting, guys, and welcome back to episode 12 of my Minecraft Let's Play series. I've started off this episode in this new area because I wanted to gather a lot of villagers in one spot for future iron farm. But at the moment I have plenty of iron for the next few builds, but I need to go back to the quarry and we need to get some jobs done. So we're back at the quarry. We've got lots of jobs to do, like terraforming. There's a big empty space which I want to build a drill, and I think we're going to have to sort out our collection system. So let's get on with the first time lapse of the episode. And as you can see, the areas come together quite nicely. I think it works really well, and it does look like a quarry now rather than a pieced together hole in the ground. So we're going to head down over here and we're going to start the new drill. So let's just go down this hill and we'll reach the area where we want to build. Now this is quite a large area, which makes it easy to build something big. And what I want to do is just take out an area and where we're actually going to dig the hole. So what I did is got some TNT and just blew that up, just so that I've got a rough idea of how big an area I need to work with. Obviously it hit me a little bit, but I'm alright. And it's a square, which wasn't helpful at all. So let's just run up the edges and just give it the sort of depth that it needs to do. And once these edges are done, then I can start probably on the big thing, which will be the tracks. Now the tracks, I'm going to use what I've always using is grind wheels and trapdoors. Trapdoors and grind wheels always make a wonderful sort of trap look. Now these I need to separate into a nice big section so that it's able to cover this area at the moment. So I'm going to carve out a few holes in a minute and I'll show you where it starts. So I've dug out two trenches about 4 blocks apart because this is how wide I want it, and I'm going to use spruce trapdoors for this, as these ones look quite nicely like tracks. They look all dirty and it kind of gives that effect of a tracked look. I'm only going to show you one side of this, so at the moment I'm working just on the bottom layer track, but I'll show you the one side, and then what we'll do is we'll replicate that on the other side so that I'm able to just mirror it, which will be quite cool. A lot of inspiration for this one was taken off the T1, just for the wheels and tracks, and all the smaller vehicles. I think the smaller vehicles have come out quite nicely, and I think this is going to come out quite cool as well. It's definitely a big one, but we need a couple of big ones on the surface so that I'm able to drill holes and you can see how these caves, the quarry, was formed. So now the trapdoors are all laid down, I'm going to have to get started on sort of the mudguard area and the wheelbase. So I'm using the copper sort of chiseled copper blocks for the spokes, or not the spokes, the centre of the wheels, which I think they give quite a nice sort of industrial look, and I do love copper. Copper has brought out so much sort of inspiration for mechanical builds, and I think it just looks amazing. So once these are done, and I'm going to put 4 in because I don't want a gap in between these ones, because it needs to be quite a robust vehicle. I need to put in the grind wheels. Now the grind wheels are going to be the tracks, what the tracks are sort of sitting on, and I'm not 100% happy with how the corners look, so I'm going to have to probably replace them with some wooden stairs. Now I'm just putting on the mud guards on top, and I think the mud guards work quite well because that separates everything for what it needs to. It gives it that sort of industrial covered up, so if anybody goes around and falls into it, they won't die. Sorry, but they won't. But I think it works quite nicely, and all I've got to do is put the ones on top and you'll see how it turns out. Now with how difficult it is to get just up here, I don't know, it's a bit of a pain to be honest, but I managed to figure it out, and I believe it looks quite cool, and I'm going to obviously copy this onto the other side. So here's a brief look at what it looks like. Now I'm just going to build this chassis. I told you I didn't know that one quite well, but this will be the base for what everything is built off. Now this is me just changing the bottoms because I didn't like it, and I'm going to use some of the copper grills because I think that gives a quite nice industrial look about it. So now I'm just going to work on the arm of the drill, and then what I'll do is I'll bring you back after it and I'll talk you through it. And with the last little bit of that time lapse, what I've actually done in between is just build the spog standard cab for it, and I've actually put a ladder on the back, so follow me this way. We'll go upstairs, up the ladder. I built a nice little engine. We've seen these before, and I built this little chimney stack, and the inside is just quite a simple. I've got some controllers for the crane, for the drill, and the steering wheel for the vehicle. It fills in the gap pretty nicely. We've got this big monstrous thing which is drilling a hole into the ground, and I've used some of the dripstone just to create the massive drill bit at the bottom. I swapped out a couple of the blocks on the feet because I think it was looking too wooden, but I love the mix of wood and copper. It gives it that sort of steampunky look with the smoke and everything coming out of it. I'm pretty happy. So I think what we might have to do is a little bit of a mining montage so that I can get some ores and bits and pieces together for the collection system up the top, which are going to make it an automatic system. What I've also done between the mining sessions is sorted out the gap where it's going to be, and I think it's quite flat. It gives it what it needs, and I've also sorted out what I need to be sorted in this. So what we've got is stone, which will be coming off the super smelter. We've got basalt, which will be coming off the basalt maker. Iron, which is the super smelter. Moss, which next episode we'll get into the moss farm, and we'll connect that into the basalt makers sort of tube system. Obviously we've got mud, we're going to need to do glass, and we've got iron which will be coming off the super smelter, but I think that is quite suitable for this area. So let's crack on. We'll build this little thing. I think we've all seen the system before, so I'll do that in a quick montage, and then we'll start the build around the outside. It's time for redstone! So I started off this build by placing down the chests. I need about 7 or 8 different double chests, which covers what I need it to. And I need to connect them all with hoppers. With the hopper system, obviously they have to go in there, but the upper ones have to be set at a different level. Now unfortunately, my calculations were a tiny bit wrong on this, so I'm having to lower everything just so that it joins up correctly and it works. It's a nice simple system, but if you get the tiniest bit wrong, it will just send everything flooded into your chest and you'll overload them, and obviously the sorting system won't work. So these comparators have to be lowered, but instead I changed my mind about lowering and lowered down the hoppers. It was quite a difficult build as I'm building on the side of a cliff, so I'm having to bridge down, make different things just to sort of heighten me up so that I'm able to build, which was came across with quite difficulty, but at the same time scaffolding comes in helpful, so that it was quite good for me. I had to work out bits and pieces along the way, which wasn't the easiest, but it wasn't hard at the same time. If you guys haven't built an auto storage system before, it can be quite difficult to try and figure out, but there is plenty of tutorials on YouTube and other places. But if you want any help, just comment below and just ask me what needs to be done. But as I said before, I was doing this off one of my drawings, so I could always poke that up right about now. And what I'll do is I'll leave you now, and you can enjoy the last little bit of this time lapse. And there we go guys, this is basically a simple setup for it. It's based around the basic sort of storage system, but I've only done one double chest at the bottom with each of the items labelled below. The back one is just for rubbish and bits and pieces, so there you go, I've just tucked in some bits and pieces for now. And obviously this is the setup. We've got all the bits and pieces on this side, which means that I'm going to have to cover it up in a moment. Now all these little contraptions that I've built in this area and in the other area, I'm going to adapt for the larger city, which will come along hopefully in the next 10 episodes, maybe before that as well. So there's going to be a lot of development and a lot of redstone tweaking, which will be working quite well. And hopefully these sorts of systems, and this system for definite, is going to become a mega storage system, which is going to be a very interesting build. And I've worked out a few bits and pieces for that mega system, and you're definitely going to enjoy it. So what we need to do is wrap this in some sort of building. So let's just jump into the final time lapse of the episode, and I'll see you afterwards. So here is the storage building finally done. I do like walking up and down these paths, as you can see everything. What I've done to it on the outside is I built a little water tower and got a little sort of duct on top. I've made it several different shapes and several different parts to give it a little bit of interest. On the side I wanted something sort of plain, sort of a little bit of detail on it, but I think that works pretty well. You come inside, I haven't done the path to it yet, but I will include this in between, sort of say. But you come inside, I've done a nice little sort of corrugated floor, just leading to a little bit of stairage, and it means we can just get down to what we need. And I've added a few extra little storage boxes, storage chests sort of thing, for the extra bits and pieces, so I can literally just grab out those and bang them straight in there. And for extra access, what I've done, and I need to get rid of that bed. I'm going to have to get rid of it in a moment, and probably put in some safety barriers so I don't fall off. You can get to the redstone on the other side, and you can make sure that everything is working correctly, which is also a good little add-on. Now this I'm pretty proud of. It might not look much from this side, but I've used corrugated grates, and I've also used the pots. Now the pots have made good structural use to create a window sort of shape, and I think that looks pretty cool. Obviously from the inside it's not amazing, but from the outside it looks beautiful. I'm so happy with how it's turned out. I've got my little access points, I can sort all my bits and pieces out as I need to, and I'm pretty happy with how the area's turned out. We are literally coming to the end of this area. I think the next episode we'll attempt doing a moss machine, and the moss machine will go straight up into this area, but I'll take you down there. I'll just show you bits and pieces, different angles from down here. As you might have noticed, I don't know if you did, I did build a little sort of shovel machine moving thing, and basically it's the same design that I got down in the mines, but I made a little sort of plough shovelly thing at the front. We'll go up here, and there you go. I think that looks pretty cool from the outside as well, and it looks like I might have caught a trapdoor by accident, so I'm going to have to sort that out, of course. But yeah, as you can see, the pots have worked out quite well. Did a little jut at the top and used some of the grates, and yeah, I'm pretty happy with how it's going and how it's turned out, and how the whole area's come together brilliantly. When you've got to think it was just a hole in the ground to now where it is now. So this episode, what we've done is we've terraformed the whole place. We've built a massive drill in the centre, which has brought in this area quite nicely, and it works awesomely. And we've also built that storage centre up there, and I think it looks quite imposing on the edge, but it does look steampunky, mechanical building sort of area style, and it's pulled the area really well. If you guys have any comments about different things, or if I've missed any builds that you think will look pretty cool in this area, then just drop me a comment below. I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode, as I've really enjoyed building it. And don't forget to like and subscribe and stay crafty. If you guys have enjoyed this episode, don't forget to check out these past episodes.